All right, welcome to Fantasy Fight Night podcast. I'm here to beat up my co-host Andy
And
verbally.
I'm here
I'm
to
gonna turn
roll
off
with the
my air
punches.
conditioner so we can actually hear what I'm saying.
Actually, hell yeah.
But
All right,
right
let's
now we're recording on Monday, and so the Ravens and the Raiders are actually up on my screen over here. So if you see me looking over there,
me too.
yeah, yeah. So it's what night works out for us to record the episode, but we're coming in hot off of first two episodes, first week of full
Week
football.
One happened. Well, technically it's still happening, but I cannot believe we finally made it.
Yeah. What I desperately need right now is Mark Andrews to score a touchdown.
You're probably in a similar boat. But like I'm in so many leagues, and I do DFS and I do sports gambling. Like, so I'm kind of all over the place. I have a new strategy this year, being in the amount of leagues that I'm in. On Sundays, I care a lot more on Thursdays and Mondays, but on Sundays, I kind of don't look at fantasy. I just try to enjoy football because I'm playing against myself. Like, there are leagues where I'm like, I really need Barkley to go off, and there are leagues where I'm like, please, Barkley, don't go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
no, it's extremely difficult. But tonight,
right.
I need Waller to stop catching the ball, and
They should stop throwing him the ball.
My gosh, it's terrifying.
He's their whole offense.
Yeah, he's it. Because no
anyway.
one else is competent.
But anyway, if you see us looking off to the sides, because we're watching the game. However, Adam is the co-host of the Kurt Crew Fantasy Podcast as well. I am the co-host of Bet Bath & Beyond. And if you want more content that's sports related, you can check out b3tsports.com. And if you go to b3tsports.com/contest, you can enter yourself into a chance to win a free NFL jersey courtesy of B3T Sports.
Am I allowed to win that?
You are not.
I didn't think so. If my name gets called, I'm sorry. I did the first. I was so excited. I was so excited.
We vet them all. Don't worry about it. We're going to start with our stat of the week, obviously, is what we start with every episode. What do you got?
Najee Harris played 100% of snaps. And with Tyson Williams having the night that he is having, this is the worst ever finish by a running back that played 100% of snaps. The lowest previously was 41. He is the 43rd ranked running back right now.
What does that say to you? Okay, because I had speculation coming in. Everyone's really high on Najee. One game, don't overreact. It's the first week. But I also said that, like, I wasn't as high as Najee. If he was going to the third, I would have thought about it. Because volume is super important in fantasy football. But that offensive line, the coaching for the offensive line, their offensive line as a unit is not that good. And it will not be as good as it was when Lev Bell was there. That's just not how they're set up. Will the Steelers be good? Yeah, that defense is electric. And will they run the ball a lot if they end up getting up in points? Yeah, they will. Volume, again, super important, but this should tell people what they need to know about Najee, right? That he is a good running back, but he's not going to be able to overcome.
I think the big thing is no other running back made the field. That's what you need to take away from this. And week one is always weird. It just always is. We'll see how the Bills' run defense is. They're not known for that. So we'll see what happens. But, 100% is what made James Robinson relevant.
Right. Oh,
on
God,
a
James
team that,
Robinson did not look good.
On a defense that is insane. By the way, Ravens probably just lost another guy for the year. Their starting left guard. He was just carted off. So
phenomenal. Ravens are they're cursed, I'm pretty sure.
This year. Yeah, I don't.
Anywho, my stat of the week is going to be that this is just kind of funny. I saw lots of people talking about this, but it's just really shocking considering it's Aaron Rodgers. But apparently he would have had a better rating if he would have thrown every single pass into the dirt.
Yep.
According to PFF. That's insane. I don't expect that to continue. I do think that there's some rust on him because, I know he went to training camp, but he didn't go to any of the preseason stuff. You got to be present. Football is not something that you can just show up and do. And he
Unless
is older.
you're Antonio Brown, right?
Unless you're Antonio Brown, which we'll talk about that. But I wanted to point out that I think Aaron Rodgers will bounce back. What do you think?
He always does.
He always does. Okay, let's hop into the news and notes. There are a lot of injuries in week 1. I feel like there's always a lot of injuries, but like every year it's just, wow, I cannot believe. Ryan Fitzpatrick, what is that, hip subluxation? Is that what how it's pronounced?
Yep.
That's similar to what Tua had in Alabama, right?
Yeah, it's a lighter version.
Yep. But he's going to miss some time. They haven't said anything about IR yet, but he's definitely not playing.
Yeah, they
this
put
week.
him on IR.
They put him on IR. Okay.
Yeah, they're expecting at least 8 weeks.
Mekhi Becton, dislocated kneecap. That's not great, but that's way better than a torn ACL. They don't know the timeline yet. Right, but an ACL would have ended his season.
Oh, yeah.
And I was watching this game, obviously, big Panthers fan. It looked bad. He looked very upset. Dislocated kneecaps hurt, though.
Yeah.
So, Rashad Penny, calf strain. This doesn't really mean anything. Rashad Penny's not very good. LaMarcus Joyner, for fantasy specifically, not terribly relevant, but he tore a tendon in his arm. Marcus Davenport, pec injury. Again, not super fantasy relevant, but, that's a defensive guy for the Saints. Jeff Okudah. This one is fantasy relevant. Anytime a lockdown kind of corner goes down, it's significant for teams that play them. Jeff Okudah, he ruptured his Achilles. He's definitely out for season. Jerry Jeudy has a high ankle sprain.
And he is very lucky. That play, yes. I thought he shattered stuff. I mean,
I thought he
got his ankle. I mean,
well, I thought he broke both his leg bones. It's just because it was high enough that the way it bent. But it turns out
that guy did not skip his milk ever.
No, he did
school
not.
Lunches.
Raheem Mostert, knee injury. I don't know if they've said specifically what it is yet.
Yes, chipped cartilage.
Chipped cartilage. Of course, because why wouldn't Raheem Mostert be hurt? Yep. Dude, Shanahan drives me nuts in the fantasy world. We could talk about that a little bit later, but I cannot believe what happened this week with them. And then Michael Gallup, calf strain. He's out, 3 to 5 weeks, something like that. Yep. So that's important, obviously. I mean, CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper already got a ton of targets last week. They're look to continue that. So anyway, matchup 1. We're gonna kind of speed run some of these things. We're each gonna say like a sentence about each game, and then we'll move into the preview for the upcoming week. So Cowboys and Bucks. What do you got?
Yes to all the pass catching weapons for Brady. Gallup and not Gallup. Cooper and CeeDee. I typed Gallup looking at the end, but Cooper and CeeDee. You want to start them.
Yeah, everyone on both teams. Both teams are completely electric. Both teams are going to have startable assets. Like the Cowboys look good, the Bucks look good. Antonio Brown is back. Dude, Evans did not see a lot of targets, not nearly as many as I thought.
Yeah, and that'll change week to week. They tried to stop Mike Evans in hoping that it would change their offense, and it didn't. They had Diggs shadowing him a lot,
and he's very good. But the other thing too to bring up, everyone's saying buy low on Zeke if you can. I mean, Zeke played one of the best front sevens in football. They also didn't give him. I mean, his usage though was fine. He was still out there for like 84% of snaps. He's obviously still the lead guy. Yeah, Pollard, I think, looked good. He's a little bit more elusive, but he's not going to get the numbers that Zeke is going to get, like, in usage percentage. So Jaguars, Texans.
So we go from a fantastic game to what the crap is happening. The Jags are bad. And
they're really bad.
People are going to chase this, but Mark Ingram is not going to be in a game strip where he gets 26 rushes ever again in his career.
I don't know about ever again in his career, but they're not going to be up like this again.
No.
There's no way.
No, he will never get 26 rushes in a game ever again. Ever.
My takeaway from this, same as yours, but Urban Meyer is bad. I think Urban Meyer is their problem because I don't think he's a good coach.
A report came out. I broke it during the Kirk Crew Fantasy Football podcast. Reports are coming out that Urban wants out and that his heart isn't in it. Now the USC job just came open, and I think
of course it did.
So he's probably gonna jump ship.
Well, that's insane. I feel really bad for Trevor Lawrence specifically because he was going to get picked by them no matter what. It wasn't like he got picked there because Urban Meyer was there.
Yeah.
But how do you spend a whole offseason splitting touches with Gardner Minshew and Trevor Lawrence to trade him for like spare change in your pocket? You need to be getting Trevor Lawrence every snap that he could. He didn't get him prepared, and now it's looking like he might jump ship. I mean, who are they going to get to replace him? I don't know who's out.
You have to promote in-house because nobody's leaving their team in the middle of the season.
No. So, I mean, that's a wasted season. Granted, I mean, no one was looking at the Jags to go, oh, they're going to be Super Bowl contenders or they're going to make the playoffs. And they were rebuilding anyway. But it still sucks that you're going to miss a pretty vital developmental year for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But there were some other reports that came out yesterday of Urban Meyer, losing his temper and stuff. Just something to monitor. All right, we got to not pontificate quite so much.
Chargers versus Washington.
So I immediately sent a message to our group. Eckler got the goal line touches. Y'all are screwed because
he did get goal line touches.
Which he got goal line touches, but didn't catch any passes, which is a little bit backwards. If you go back and look. The 2 games where he's come off of injuries, he's had no targets. So they have literally taken him out of it for a reason.
Right. They're just trying to make sure that he's not hurt. Hamstrings are no joke. The whole league knows that. So I'm not shocked that he had a limited usage. The goal line carries are good. 7's excessive. He's not going to get 7 every game. Like but it does signify that he is going to be hopefully the goal line back. So that's very good for Eckler owners. Just monitor the hamstring, make sure, because if he re-aggravates it, there's a chance you're going to be missing 3-4 games, something like that. So, my big takeaway, obviously, Fitz is hurt. You're going to be capped on all your pass catching options. See, Gibson's going to be fine.
I don't agree with that. I thought Heineke could have competed.
My thing isn't that Heineke can't do it, but as of right now, if you're telling me that I had to pick between Fitz and Heineke for shootouts, I would rather have Fitz. And I think a lot of people would too. Heineke could do it, but if I had to pick right now, I would be choosing Fitz. So
if until I can't do it, I would expect to see some Cam Newton.
That's another thing, and that would also limit. That would be bad for that might be good for their team if Cam has it. I mean, obviously he'd be with Ron Rivera again, who has used him in the past. But if, let's say, Cam comes in, if he's not 2015 Cam, he's anything else, it's going to be bad for Gibson as a runner because he's going to get sniped on the goal line a lot. It's going to be bad for the pass catchers because he's not as accurate. So that's something to take a look at. Seahawks, Colts.
Russ is incredible. Yes. He's going to
he's insane.
He's going to cook in his own way. Like, he doesn't need to go bananas to win games efficiently. He had 4 touchdown passes because Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are going to generate space. And then just when you think we've got those guys covered, they're going to leak some tight end out over the middle or Chris Carson, and he's going to throw a touchdown pass to them.
Yeah. I am totally cool with my only concern is last year they did the same thing. They're like, go ahead, Russ, throw the ball. Go nuts, and he kind of started.
But this is different. He didn't the attempts are so different than compared to this game. He was efficient this game.
Sure, but Russ is always pretty efficient. I mean, when you've got Tyler Lockett, the way they've got the receiver set up is very nice to be efficient, right? I mean, again, they don't have the same offensive coordinator. If they wanted to adapt this strategy, and make it so he's just throwing more efficient stuff, sure, I totally see it. I think that Russ could have the best year of his career, but I think that Russ has that potential every year. It's just a matter of how it shakes out. He's always going to be good for you for fantasy, especially with the weapons he's got. I dig it. I just need to know that he is going to have this ability all through the season.
In our analyst league, I drafted the Wilson, Lockett, Metcalf stack.
Yes.
And it burned it down this week.
No, it did. It absolutely did. I know. I mean, and obviously you know this too. On bad weeks, like if there's it's gonna be rough.
Oh yeah, I'd be in serious trouble. But
anyway, I do want to say that as of right now, I'm beating Brett Coleman in that league, which makes me very, very happy. Okay, so my takeaway from this is that I don't think the Colts believe in Carson Wentz. I think I think that they're just happy that they have a startable quarterback, but I didn't like the way that they called some of the plays. I don't think that they gave him the reins to like cut loose. I mean, he threw a lot of short stuff. His depth of target wasn't very high. And Jonathan Taylor looked good, but I want to see how Wentz progresses through the next couple of games. Seahawks might have a better defense than we thought, but I
see, and with the Wentz, I mean, Paris Campbell's coming off of a litany of injuries. You don't have T.Y. Hilton on the outside, who you're planning on still being your outside threat. You don't have one of the tight ends emerging. I mean, you basically paid Nyheim Hines to be your second best weapon on offense, and we didn't see what you hope out of Pittman. I think it's more of a matter of weapons rather than a lack of faith in Wentz.
I mean, and that very well could be. I was hoping to see a little bit more from Wentz just because I feel like should have a chip on his shoulder, revenge tour. You know, he's got something to prove because he hasn't played a full.
They also their offensive line was not good this game, and
that's true,
not healthy. So
Jets Panthers.
Corey Davis, ladies and gentlemen, he is living up to his draft billing. He may not have ever figured it out with the Titans, but he was the second best player on all of the offenses, only behind CMC himself.
CMC might have been 1 and 2.
Yeah, no, seriously. But Corey Davis looks like an alpha.
He looks good.
2 touchdowns, and as the only guy who is viable in that offense, Elijah Moore did nothing. The running game did nothing, but he showed up, and it's like you have one guy to stop based off the tape in preseason, and they couldn't do it.
Yep. And it's the Panthers defense. I mean, we got young guys. The Panthers have some young talent. They're fast on the outside, but they're not a great defense. If they put it all together, maybe. I mean, they've been drafting defense for years now. I mean, they've got pieces. If it comes out that the Panthers are a really good defense, maybe that'll be a defense. But they're middle of the pack for sure at the moment. My big thing, Zach Wilson. I mean, he didn't look like Patrick Mahomes. That sounds like an insult, but you know, the whole draft season and then camp, and everyone's like, this guy's making throws that are incredible. He's got the arm talent. He'll figure out the rest later. Maybe he will. He did make some decent throws against the Panthers, but he also threw across his body a lot. He wouldn't set his feet. He wanted to do the bang bang flash plays, and his offensive line is not designed for that, especially with Mekhi Becton out. So if he continues to do that, I would be very, very nervous about some of the weapons on that team getting the proper looks they need.
All right, Andy, you're gonna have to cut down how much you
Vikings and Bengals.
All right, all you need to know is Jamar Chase is what we thought he was.
And the Vikings can't play call. 49ers and Cardinals and Titans.
The Titans offense missed Arthur Smith, and Julio left his hands in Atlanta. I hope they overnight ship them back to him.
I don't think they will, because I think Atlanta lost everything else. I don't understand how that team's going to function. The Cardinals are electric. They have amazing weapons, and Kyler looked phenomenal. 49ers Lions.
Holy RBs. Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift used all over the place, and they were getting spanked, and they were 2 of the best running backs in fantasy.
It's good the way they were used.
They don't have any wide receivers. Tyrell Williams is in the concussion protocol. Start those guys every week. I mean, San Fran was supposed to shut them down. Nothing.
Hawkinson looked really, really good as well. Obviously, he's their wide receiver 1. He's going to be the Niners. I don't know. We talked about this at the top of the show because I did want to talk. Shanahan is weirding me out the way that he is stating things for media and then the way they're playing out in the game. Ayuk was benched for like a 4th stringer. Their running back that they spent draft capital on didn't even dress. Is that weird to you?
The Trey Sermon thing makes sense when you hear that these guys just outplayed him. Michael Hasty and that just outplayed him. Trey Sermon wasn't supposed to come in and be that guy, though. He was someone that they were trying to figure out. Ohio State. He had attributes that he thought he could tap into. Not ready yet, but you have depth at the position, so I don't think it's weird. The Brandon Ayuk one need to be a pro. Need to learn how to be a pro. That terrifies me because Dante Pettis got that exact same comment and he was done.
Yeah, absolutely. So but they don't elaborate. They don't say what that means, right? Like, does he not watch film right? Does he like stay out and party? Like, just they didn't say what it means, and it could mean a whole wide spectrum of things. So I don't want to speculate, but yeah, it worries me as well. Steelers Bills.
Najee's in trouble. The 100%. It's just you have to have viable opportunities to be able to rip something off. I mean, he had one 18-yard run, and the rest of the time, I think it was like less than 2 yards a carry.
Yeah. And the Bills running backs still don't matter. They even had just one guy, as the guy, and it didn't matter. That Steelers defense is legit.
I mean,
it was last
Singletary,
year.
I think we'll find some value later on. That defense was...
If he is continuously the only guy, but I don't expect that they're going to keep Zach Moss on the roster and healthily scratch him every single week. So they're either going to use him or cut him. If they cut him, that's a different story. I would be glad to revisit Singletary. But as long as Zach Moss is on the roster, none of these guys matter for fantasy. Eagles Falcons.
Hurts is a valuable NFL quarterback.
He looked great.
He looked great, and for fantasy, in his last 5 starts, he has been his lowest finishes at QB 20. The rest of them, QB 1s, 3 of them, QB 5 and above. So
yeah,
and he was a passer this game. Yes, he added some.
Yeah, he was.
He was passing. Now, let's see what happens when he doesn't play the Falcons.
Yeah, because that's my takeaway. The Falcons are in trouble. They look bad. Offensive line looked bad. Defense looked bad.
The Jaguars may have looked better.
Yeah, and should tell you something. The weapons they have, it drives me nuts that they could be this bad.
It looked like Matt Ryan didn't have it anymore. That's the biggest takeaway for me. And I was all in on him being like my QB2 in Superflex. And yikers.
So, and who do the Falcons play next week?
The Bucs. They're about to get massacred. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, we will. Okay. Browns, Chiefs. I loved this game. This was a nuts game to watch.
This is a fun game. Browns did all they could, but Kelsey, Hill, and Mahomes are the best at their positions in the league. And
the Browns had them. I don't want to sit and be like, oh man, the Browns almost. No, the Browns had them. The margin for error when you play the Chiefs is so, like, Nick Chubb fumbling that football. That was not. I mean, everyone will say that the punt muff was the downfall. Obviously, that's a horrible. But Nick Chubb fumbling that football was the turning point to me. The Browns are going to be great. So
yeah,
Packers Saints.
Holy Saints! Kamara and Jameis were awesome. Just wait until Michael Thomas comes back.
I thought it was a typo when I saw Jameis's stat line because it had 5 touchdowns and less than 150 yards. I really did think it was a typo.
That's the first guy to do that since 1934.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, that's the worst beating of Aaron Rodgers' life.
Yeah, well, and it wasn't just like, oh man, he couldn't catch the break. I mean, he threw 2 interceptions, which is the most un-Aaron Rodgers thing.
Yeah, he was watching the pressure. I think Bakhtiari being gone
it scares him.
And Bakhtiari, and don't forget, they let Lindsey walk in free agency.
Yes, they did.
I mean,
so he is set up his contract to be gone after this year, they might be sooner than we think, because they might not make postseason if it keeps up.
Yeah, they might go a couple weeks and go, hey, Broncos, you want to go win the Super Bowl?
Broncos, Giants, speaking of.
Saquon Barkley's in a lot of trouble. He is a unbelievable talent. That line is worse than the Steelers. I've never seen somebody get hit behind the line so quickly. He was getting hit in less than a second from the snap.
Yeah,
that was his average.
It didn't look good. I will say, I do think the Broncos also have a good defense. I think that's part of the reason
they have a great pass defense, though. They have a great pass defense. And the Giants' offensive line did actually well in pass protection. Their run blocking was atrocious.
Sure. I just think that you also have to keep in mind that Barkley was not, I mean, yeah, he was full go, but they only gave him the ball 10 times. Normally, Barkley's a 20 kind of carry guy. I know they were behind, but they weren't behind a crazy amount. He was not scripted out of this game. He was written out because, they want to ease him into it. So I look for, even obviously as Thursday comes up, they play the Washington football team. That's going to be scary.
I just said to bench him on the Kirk Root Fantasy Football podcast.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second, too, because I have some thoughts on that. But anyway, we'll move to Dolphins Patriots.
Damian Harris is the guy. He is.
I'm glad you said that, because there's some speculation that Bill might be a little bit.
Ramondre Stevenson also had a fumble.
No, I know, but I mean, Bill is the kind of guy who benches his guys. I mean, it just
they lost. It's not. He would bench him during a game. They lost. He has to live with that. They were driving to win it, and he messed up. I guarantee you, he doesn't fumble in that situation again, and Bill will put him back in that situation because he was clearly the best back on the field.
He was clearly the best back.
Gaskin only got about 50% of the time,
which is weird to me because I thought he looked good. When I saw him on the field, I thought he looked good.
Yeah, he wasn't great, but
well, sure, but when you draft Gaskin where he was going, you weren't going, I need a great running back. You're like, I need a good running back.
That was kind of the argument for him. I just didn't believe that it would be clear cut. Damian Harris I was in on because I thought that with the Sony Michel trade, he was a clear cut, regardless of what Ramondre Stevenson did.
Sure. Well, and Damian Harris also has phenomenal touchdown upside, being the guy and having Mac Jones be the starting QB. So, I mean, I'm not out on him either. I just want to bring up the idea that will there be some consequences to the fumble. But Bears and Rams, the night game, and this was also, I know you're a Bears fan, this was also a good game. It started off pretty good. Monty looked phenomenal.
Monty is what we want Saquon Barkley to be.
It is.
His comp coming out in college, but after his first year, he went, I didn't realize how much my diet was affecting me in college. He's like eating nachos and Cheetos and all this stuff all the time. So I cleaned it up. He looked better last year. Then this offseason, he's like, I am too slow. So he worked on his footwork. That guy looked like like a top 3 running back in the league last night. Genuinely, it was a statement game.
I thought he looked phenomenal.
That defense did not allow a 100-yard rusher last year.
And then what he rushed for, 134?
And he dislocated his fingers, left the game for a long time, came back and still got 100 yards. He was unbelievable.
I'm glad you brought up the finger because people are looking into the backup getting some work. And that's going to happen when your starter is not on the field.
Well, and Damian, they were running effectively. I'm okay with they used 2 backs. Damian Williams was running effectively.
Okay, so then obviously where we're at now, Ravens versus the Raiders.
The biggest takeaway is in the first half, Darren Waller had 11 targets. Now he only had 4 catches because they're keying in on him, but White on defense cannot stop him. He's going to go insane like he does. I mean, he has some crazy games. He is potentially the biggest mismatch in the NFL.
Yeah, and not only, I mean, just regardless of talent, any player who gets the amount of targets that he is getting is going to be fantasy, not just relevant, but they will be a top producer at their position.
Oh, yeah.
It just
Look
happens
at Allen Robinson. He's had awful quarterbacks, and It's just a matter of targets. He's got Mark Andrews. Oh, he just missed him. I mean, that should have been a walk-in touchdown, and he knows it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that corner or that. Oh, there's a flag though. Yeah. Anyway, that looked all right. I mean, Lamar looked pretty accurate so far today. I've liked Lamar. I feel a little bad for him because I feel like he's getting collapsed on a lot, and I don't know if that's a line play or if they're just bringing.
The line play is just not good. Their offensive line. You have to remember that they let go of. They traded Brown. Ronnie Stanley's coming back his first time off of injury. They just lost the left guard to injury. They had to start Villanueva, who is not good.
No,
he's a good run blocker. Good. He's not a good pass blocker.
Yeah.
But
anyway, moving forward here, let's talk about the preview for next week. The Thursday night matchup, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Giants versus the Washington football team. Gibson's the clear absolute stardom here, right?
Yeah. Oh, Gibson's going to be fantastic. He got all the work. J.D. McKissick had 1 carry, 1 reception. He is the guy. Everything that we wanted him to be. Yeah, it's just incredible.
Now, you were talking about benching Barkley. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's not something you can do, but if you got Barkley, you got him in the first round. If you were lucky, you got him at the end of this or at the beginning of the second. Who you're going to bench him with is that's the difficult part. So I mean, like,
but I said to bench Zeke last week. I didn't do it because of the injury to Eckler. I didn't know if he was going to play or not, so I kept Zeke in, and then pivoted a whole bunch and didn't play Monty like I should have. And I would never do that again because he was unbelievable. But this front is going to kill that offensive line. Like they are built to be passed on, and their secondary is the most susceptible thing. And Kenny Golladay looked like worth the money, but Barkley is going to get killed.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't adjust properly and like use Barkley mostly in screen game, and they're not going to put it. I feel like they're going to not put him out there for pass sets because they don't need him out there getting banged up for nothing. I mean, especially on a short week coming off this injury, it's going to be rough going. Maybe he gets an extra 3 carries. You know, that only puts him at like 13, 14 attempts. That's still not bell cow back. Again, if you don't have anyone, I mean, you're going to run with him if you don't have anyone else. But if you can get a guy from the waiver wire, like, you know, like the Ravens running back, or you're able to get somebody like that who you could really throw in, just that might be your best option. But be smart about it, obviously. Patriots, Jets.
Don't start Corey Davis in this one. He was their only asset. And what does Bill Belichick do best? Take away your best player.
Strips it away.
Yeah, Corey Davis. Now, when he flops in this game, go buy him afterwards. Yeah, go buy him afterwards. If people drop him, throw out a very low-value trade to get him because he is going to be targeted and he's going to score in garbage time.
I also want to say that if the Pats are available to stream as a defense, you know, that's a definite stream for them. Yeah. I would definitely look for that. Yeah. Broncos versus the Jaguars.
Oh gosh, start all of the Broncos, either of the running backs. It's going. The Houston Texans just beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the most important thing is we're looking at washed running backs in Ingram, right? Yep. You're just talking about 26 carries. Melvin Gordon could definitely do that. I mean, I think that there's a solid chance. Yeah, Javonte Williams too. Melvin Gordon didn't really look all that great this week. He did have a 70-yard touchdown that saved his week, something like that. But he's not going to probably do that. But, you know, streaming option, I'd take it. Also, obviously, Broncos defense, definitely defense you should start.
Oh, yeah.
Bills and Dolphins.
This is going to be another rough matchup for both teams. I don't think this is going to be a shootout. I think more like a 17-20 type game. Both viable defenses.
I think that the Bills are going to be coming out ready to swing just because of the way that, I mean, they have a very tough schedule, and this is the Dolphins are probably one of their easier matchups here in the next 7 weeks. There are only so many that they can drop. They play the Chiefs, they play the Washington football team. They got to get wins where they can. I expect the Bills to win this, and I don't know if I would be starting. I mean, obviously Diggs, you're going to be starting him. Obviously Allen, you're going to be starting him, but yeah, like you said, it's going to be a tough matchup. I would fire up your Bills versus your Dolphins, though.
This is my favorite game of the week, 49ers, Eagles. Niners put up a lot of points. Now, they got a little lackadaisical, and the Lions came back and I think caught them by surprise that they didn't just roll over and get beat. The Eagles were good. This is a good matchup of kind of this is almost the worst of first, right? The two worst of first candidates in my mind based off of week 1. Now, Eagles have, I think, less resistance than the Niners just because of their division. But I think this is going to be a lot of points for all of them. I'm very interested to see how the Niners running backs do against the Eagles defensive front.
The Eagles defensive front this week 1, looked really good. Again, we talked about it. They played Atlanta, but they looked solid. I am also excited for the matchup there. I also want to see Kittle get a little bit more involved. He only had 5 targets against a team. Last year, the Lions let up double-digit fantasy points to the tight end position on average the whole year. So the fact that they didn't have to get it to Kittle, so I'm not worried about him. But I would like to see more usage out of some guy who is arguably top 3 at the position, right?
Week 1 is weird.
Yeah, it's true.
Weird.
So we got Rams, Colts. Oh, was there more you want to talk about with the 49ers Eagles? Okay.
I was reacting to things on the game, so I was very hoping there was a flag. So please.
Rams, Colts.
So the Colts line right now is as beat up as the Bears, but they were able to find running room by doing a trap block. I don't think that Raheem Morris allows that to happen twice.
Sure.
So I don't expect a repeat 100-yard rusher.
I also don't expect a 100-yard rusher. The Colts passed a fair amount. I mean, what did they do? They targeted Taylor 6-7 times.
Yeah, but they did a lot of passing underneath, and that's exactly what Dalton did. So
yeah, but I would also suggest that I think that Taylor has the potential, the same explosive potential that Montgomery does, in the sense of if you get him a little bit of space underneath, he can make it work. I'm not going to be benching Taylor by any means, just because I'm not out here expecting what Monty did, but I think that it's definitely a possibility. You're starting Taylor. Your receiving options, I think, are interesting. Your burners, it can happen. As long as Wentz is able to get enough time in the backfield. That's the thing I don't know if he will.
No, they keep everything in front of them. The Bears had one pass deeper than 15 yards, and it was picked off. Everything else was just kept in front of them because that's how they play the game. Going over to the Raiders-Steelers, based off of what I'm seeing, Najee Harris is going to eat all day against this team. He's a better runner than Tyson Williams. Now, Tyson's showing some extreme speed, but Najee will be fantastic. And I'm actually going to fight you on this one.
What's that? The Waller's a no-brainer?
I don't think he is. Because right now,
I think
he's
that
struggling.
Well, he's struggling because they're
13 targets
him.
for 4 receptions. Yeah. Now, 56 yards. But the Ravens have a ton of injuries. The Steelers have one concern, and that is Waller. Plus, they have a better pass rush. I mean, Ingram, Hayward, and T.J. Watt are going to wreck Derek Carr.
Okay, but when I say Waller is a no-brainer, I'm not saying what I would like. What I'm saying is I don't want people to overthink it. Yeah, the Steelers are a great defense, and they are going to target Waller. But if you think about where you drafted Waller, who are you going to replace? Who are you streaming him with? Don't overthink this. I don't want you to.
We'll talk about
Yeah,
him.
Jared. We'll talk about him later too. I have Jared Cook in a couple leagues, and he was very good to me. But I don't want people to freak out and go, well, look at what happened to the Bills. I mean, if you have Waller,
this isn't like a hot take. Just watching this game, watching it on
right.
they're gonna pepper him with targets. They can't get him the ball. I think Gruden's job is in trouble, and this offensive line is gonna get killed.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. We're on the same page here. And I do want to ask you a question about Najee. If he does not kill it against this team, are you a buy low guy or are you a panic button guy?
If he does not do well against the Raiders, I will not touch him. I didn't draft him.
I'm a panic guy as well.
I will not, unless if I get some crazy opportunity just for depth. I don't want him.
Yep. Same page.
100% target, 100% volume to do 70 yards a week. I would rather have Damian Harris.
All right. Bengals versus Bears.
Monty's going to go bonkers. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he'll have a great week. I think he really should. Now, Cook didn't have an amazing week. But, I think that there is definitely a shot that Monty is going to have like a breakout season.
Yeah, he's going to have. I mean, he finished the RB4 last year, so let's maybe curtail the breakout season.
Okay,
he's gonna get the respect he deserves. He's gonna put some jaw-dropping stats, I think.
Now I think you should start every Bengals wide receiver because the Bears, I think, are hurting a little bit when it comes to getting beat deep.
I thought Duke Shelley was going to be our starter at cornerback, and he was a healthy scratch. They started someone I genuinely didn't know, Marquise something. I still don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
And he got roasted twice.
So, I mean, when you're looking at Jamar Chase, Higbee, these guys are definitely starts. And Joe Burrow looked good. I like him as a talent and a prospect and all that sort of stuff.
Mac didn't get home.
No.
Mac didn't get home, and Robert Quinn was useless again. So... I would fire up all the Bengals. I'm a Bears fan.
Yep.
This is I bet on them making the playoffs last year based off of their defense. I think the Giants are going to have two very high picks.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, Texans Browns. The Texans are bad. I'm laughing because as I look at this matchup, the Browns are going to destroy the Texans.
Yeah.
Just on the ground alone. Now, I do want to say that your Browns are going to be good. You're both your running backs. I would actually be a little nervous to start like your secondary Browns receivers just because I don't think they're going to really be needed. I think you're going to get a lead early, just like they did with the Chiefs, and they're not going to give it up because they're not going to have to, and they're going to run the ball for a majority of this game. They're going to control the clock.
Yeah. No, and I can understand that. I'm interested to see what they say about Odell Beckham's health.
Yeah, that one's. Will he ever play a full season again?
No,
I don't think he will.
That's not how he is. But I drafted him in leagues because he's number one wide receiver on it. All he needs is one play on a play action against a team like the Houston Texans that they have to buckle down against the run, and he gets by him. That's all I need. That's what I drafted him for. He is a better version of Deshaun Jackson.
Dude, Lamar can run. Holy heck.
Yeah.
Okay. Saints versus the Panthers.
I'm nervous. I'm dubbing this Kamara Palooza.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna. I think this will end up turning into a shootout, just because I think it's gonna be Kamara and CMC the whole way. Obviously you're starting both those guys,
but one of those offensive lines is unbelievable, and the other one is.
Yeah, but now here's the Panthers defense again. We played the Jets. We look solid.
You had 6 sacks. Brian Burns is an early Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
I would agree with that, and he has looked good for a while. We also have. I thought Horn looked really good too. I mean, he had a couple. He had 2 rookie things, but he was very physical. I like him a lot. Now, where I get kind of nervous is obviously Darnold looked pretty. I mean, if Darnold plays like he did the whole year, I would be happy with that.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm going to get
happy
that.
with it, but
right, but I don't know if I'm going to get that.
Yeah.
The big thing is I had listened to the fantasy footballers, and I was kind of, as I was listening, they had mentioned something about Robbie Anderson that was interesting. He was basically non-existent.
Yeah.
He had a touchdown, but if it weren't for that touchdown, they didn't really target him the way they targeted him last year. He was the replacement, it seemed like, for Christian McCaffrey. Now, they did pay him, which is interesting, because he's not going to go away. But if he struggles in this game and doesn't get the targets, it's going to be... I'm not buying low on him. I'm going to have to decide whether I'm going to cut him or I'm going to try to trade him for pieces or something.
I would trade him now.
Yeah, I would definitely look to trade him now. I mean, you could be surprised. He could go off. I don't know. Maybe it was a fluke. He does have the connection with Darnold. They have 6 touchdowns together in their careers. But Vikings versus Cardinals.
Kyler is going to burn it all down. If you thought that the Bengals put up some stats, holy crap. Now, I think early last year, the Vikings got the snot knocked out of them in a couple games. So
Yes.
Zimmer's defense may just take a little bit to get going, but this is supposed to be a very plus matchup for them. Cardinals just beat the crap out of a playoff team.
They did.
Kyler's going to torch them. They don't.
I'm super concerned with the Vikings as a team.
I didn't believe in them. Kirk Cousins had an unbelievable year last year, but this defense, everyone's like, oh, this defense is going to jump up from bottom to like top 5, and it's like, it's not happening.
I don't think top 5. It will be better. It definitely should be better. I didn't see it the other day.
My brother made a $20 bet that the Rams defense is bad and the Vikings defense would be better.
That's insane.
Rams have been top 5 the past 4 years.
And they didn't. I mean, like, did you see Ramsey against the Bears? Ramsey was everywhere.
I don't know why Dalton kept throwing at him in the first half. We had a shot in that game, except for that.
I mean, granted, I don't want to be backtracking here just a little bit. Justin Fields is really good. I think that he obviously will be starting sooner rather than later for you guys. But, I mean, a rookie quarterback against that pass rush and Ramsey, I think would have been just a little nerve-wracking. I mean, like, he could have gotten picked twice.
They put him in on his first play.
Right.
He had Aaron Donald right in his face. He threw a sidearm throw just past him onto Ramsey's side of the field and completed a pass. Like,
I know. I'm not saying that he couldn't do it. I'm just saying that
Justin Fields is the best. It might be the best quarterback in this class, and that's crazy to me because I think all 5 of these guys are going to be good.
I think that they're all going to be good as well. Like we talked earlier, I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I feel like he's in the worst situation. But yeah, I'm nervous about the Vikings as a whole. Obviously, Cook's going to be fine. Justin Jefferson's probably going to be fine.
Adam Thielen's going to be fine.
Yeah, with Irv going down, you're gonna be fine with your options. It's just I don't think you're gonna get the upside you did last year. Falcons Bucks.
Start all of the Buccaneers.
Yep.
Every single one that you own, do it because my goodness, it's gonna be ugly. Like Jalen Hurts just torched them. And Jalen Hurts is not Tom Brady with the weapons that he has.
Where do you have Gronk as tight ends go for this week 2?
I mean,
do you have him as a top 12 tight end? I mean, I know it's not hard to do, but
I think I think he's going to be a top 12 guy all year. Dallas Goedert had stuff, but I think that they're going to try and figure out how to stop specific players, and I think they're not going to do a good job of it. So it's a matter of which one guy can we shut down and the other 3 kill us.
Yeah. Okay. I think that you definitely have to keep an eye on Atlanta as a whole because if Ridley and Pitts don't perform, keep an eye on it, like as in see whose fault it is really. Is it the offensive line's fault that Ryan doesn't have time, or is Ryan just really not that good? Or you got to figure out what the problem is here because you have to decide on whether you're keeping Ridley. If Ridley has a really bad game again and you're going into week 3. I mean, are you looking to sell Ridley for as much as you can get just because? I mean, he's a phenomenal talent, but if he has a third horrible week and then they decide Matt Ryan's not the guy and they're looking to trade or they like bench him for, they don't have a backup. McCarron's on IR, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, they have Felipe Franks, who's interesting, but he'd be a rushing quarterback.
Right. So I'm just like, if they happen to decide that Ryan cannot continue for any reason, if he has 3 or 4 straight horrible weeks, Ridley's going to take a huge dip. So after the second week, are you looking to move Ridley for as much as you can get, or are you going to stick through him for the season?
I didn't touch him anywhere because of concerns.
I didn't touch him mostly because of his price. I love him as a talent. I think Calvin Ridley is a phenomenally talented running back or wide receiver, but I just think that, man, I thought this team would be at least salvageable, but it seems like it's not. Titans, Seahawks.
Wilson's going to eat. I mean, Murray just diced him up, and Murray and Wilson are probably the closest comps to each other in the NFL. I think Murray's on that kind of trajectory, and it's just not fair.
I think that you got to be careful. I think Wilson obviously is a good start. I like starting almost all your Seahawks here. I do want to say the Titans, I would be a little wary. I don't think they're as bad as they showed. I think that they will be a little bit better. But if they are as bad as they showed, I think the Titans are in trouble.
Yeah, but give it a little bit of time. Give it a little bit of time on the Titans.
Sure. Cowboys, Chargers.
Play every single asset you can in this. Specifically, Jared Cook, if he's on the waivers, he is an unbelievable CQ start. He had 5 catches, 8 targets, 56 yards. Gronk just scored 2 touchdowns against these guys. And Jared Cook has displayed he's that kind of savvy, and Herbert can whip the ball around.
Well, and Herbert went to Henry a lot last year when he could. He likes the tight end position. I think he likes the way that it fits into their scheme. I am totally on board with the Jared Cook sneaky start. I was a little nervous week 1 if they were going to use their rookie tight end a little bit more, but they like Jared Cook. So this is going to be a shootout, 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
Chiefs, Ravens. I'm actually going to be at this game. I'm there for the night game. It'll be super, super fun. I'm super stoked. I'm very, very, very excited. I think this is the game of the week.
Josh Jacobs just got hurt.
How bad?
He's
just limping to the sideline.
They're monitoring it. They're grabbing his knee, so something to monitor. I think that the Ravens are going to get killed by the Chiefs. This is not a playoff-worthy team, I think, with the Ravens, just with how many injuries they've had, which sucks. I'm sorry,
absolutely.
Ian. I know that you're probably not listening to this, but I'm just putting it in there. Chris Jones is going to eat and destroy. I mean, the Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue are causing issues. Put a guy up the middle, and it's going to be terrifying.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs will win it as well. I don't know the spread on that game. I don't know what the implied point totals are, but I think it will be high scoring. But I just think that the way that it is set up, the Chiefs are going to get the ball last.
So we'll see. This is not the first time he's gone down in this game. So you lose Marcus Peters to Humphrey. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, you'll lose every deep ball to the. So, yeah. I mean, monitor here. This is the thing about us recording during the Monday night games. Like, if things like this happen, it's...
that's why I'm trying to inject the stuff. So,
but, yeah. And then the next week's Monday night game is the Packers and the Lions. The Packers, I'm very happy for them that they are getting the extra time because it definitely looks like they need it. The Lions might beat them. If the Packers show up and play like they did against the Saints... The Lions could win.
Rodgers isn't turning in back-to-back performances like that.
If he does...
It's going to be points-a-palooza. I don't think the defense can stop the Lions from what they're doing. I don't think they have the linebackers. They have more edge pass rushers. I don't think they have the coverage. Jair's going to follow Hawkinson, but Adams and Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift are going to eat.
Who's going to be on Devontae Adams? it would have been Okudah, but they don't have a guy. I mean, I think Devontae Adams is very poised for a 2-touchdown, 75-yard game, like just a ton of targets. But I do want to talk just because the possibility, if Rodgers does throw, say, a pick or two and he has a really poor game, will the Packers be in a position where they're like, we should start Jordan Love in the third week? You don't think so? You think they're just going to roll Rodgers?
Yeah, they're going to roll with Rodgers.
I would agree with that. Those are all our games. And look at that. Under an hour.
Stop throwing the ball to Waller. My goodness.
They don't have anyone else.
14 targets.
Dude, and it's not even we're like barely through the third quarter. What was that, 5.5 minutes left?
I needed him not to score like 15 points.
What's
and he's going to do that 14 and a half.
Oh my god.
13.2.
He's not even getting yards. He's like just getting the ball and then going straight down.
Yeah, he gets another catch for positive yards, and I lose. Because Gesicki blanked. I'm going to be like the second highest scorer. And Gesicki and Matt Ryan killed me.
Yeah, I had a 3 QB league where I started Jameis Winston, which is great. And then I started Andy Dalton, which is not great. And then I started Aaron Rodgers, who I thought would be great and was not. So that's super unfortunate.
Well, I mean, it turned into a normal performance across the three of them. Yeah. So,
what do you think? Do you have anything you want to add fantasy-wise before we get out of here for the week?
I think the biggest thing to take away is you have to look at the Raheem Mostert injury. You have to pick a guy. And I think Elijah Mitchell is the guy. So
I would say, would you be surprised if this upcoming week that Sermon was another healthy scratch?
After the injury, yes, I would be surprised.
I think I would also be surprised. I want people to monitor that because if that's the case, because Shanahan could do it. He really, really could do it. Because is Jeff Wilson still on IR or is he just injured?
He's on PUP, so he won't be back until at least week 7.
Because I wanted to, because I really wanted to monitor that as well. Because Jeff Wilson is a guy that they have used in the past and they have liked. So I mean, he's going to be coming back around the same time that Mostert's back. So, anyway, I think that's everything we got. We will see you guys next week.